It's the seeds of civilization and the sustenance of humankind.
1 acre will feed 9,000 people for one day.
Harvested by an elaborate convoy of man and machine.
What girl wouldn't like to drive a huge combine?
So mighty, it feeds millions. Yet so vulnerable, it depends on modern science.
A disease could devastate a crop in a matter of 10 days.
From bread to beer, pasta to plastic. It's a spectacular journey from the field to your dinner table. Now, the untold story of wheat on Modern Marvels. Beyond the amber waves of grain, over $1 million worth of equipment sits idle. These are the machines of the Misener family, one of 700 crews known as custom harvesters who haul in nearly half of the United States wheat crop. Each year, they race against time to gather the delicate grain.
Once the crop is ready, you need to be right on top of it, all within a week's time. And we actually follow the harvest of the wheat as it matures north.
The responsibility of feeding the world weighs heavily on their shoulders. Any holdup at harvest could be catastrophic. At their stop in Elk City, Oklahoma, the Misener crew has been delayed by a recent rainstorm. And this custom harvester is desperate to get rolling again.
When these machines of mine are not running, it's costing me $1,500 an hour. We've been sitting for a couple of days here, but we've had a good strong wind here, so hopefully this wheat is going to run now. But we'll just get out here and see what we got for a sample and check things out.
Before harvest can begin, the moisture level of the wheat must be under 13.5%. Any higher, and the wheat could spoil. The head or spike of the wheat contains the kernels, or grain, which are the only part of the plant used for human food.
We're going to grab a few heads here, and the object is we're going to put them in my palm here, and we're going to thrash those kernels out of that head and then bite on them. And you can hear them crack, pop. It's going to be ready to go. We got a couple of soft ones, but it really tastes pretty darn good. We're going to go. We're going to try it. My crew's anxious to start cutting wheat. So we're going to get going here. Okay, Emma, get them organized. Crank them up. We're going to cut wheat. Copy the combines. Go ahead and raise all your heads up. Pull in and just make a nice gradual sweep.
The vast majority of the crop they harvest is hard red winter wheat, which ultimately becomes the staff of life, bread. Harvest starts in Texas every May and wraps up in Canada in September. By that time, the Misener team alone will harvest more than 1 million bushels, enough wheat to feed nearly 500,000 people for a year. That's if the weather doesn't best them.
We've been in hail. We have been in the field with a tornado within a quarter of a mile of us. We do a lot of praying to the good Lord.
And their machines don't break down.
It's a family operation. When my wife and I started, we had 2 combines. She drove one, I drove one. We have 6 children, 4 daughters and 2 sons. Every one of the kids have grown up on the floor of a combine.
Now their operation has grown to 5 combines. It's equipment and manpower that many wheat farmers can't afford.
They can actually get our wheat out in 3 days, whereas it would take us almost 2 weeks with one machine. Being a wheat farmer probably is being one of the biggest gamblers there is. You've got a crop worth hundreds of thousands in the field that can be wiped out in the matter of 30 minutes.
These gamblers depend on the custom harvester to be their ace in the hole. Though custom harvesting with combines has been around for more than 100 years, the industry really took hold in the 1940s. But some crews became hasty and dishonest. Farmers tagged them harvest gypsies. This perception stuck until the 1960s, when it became a reputable profession. Today's custom cutters are the dependable warriors of the wheat harvest. They can clean out 100 acres per combine per day. Emma Misener has been behind the wheel of a combine since she was 10 years old.
At first, when you get into it, you know, haven't driven before, it's really nerve-wracking. There's a lot of things to watch at one time, but it's just fun. It's just like mowing the lawn with a 30-foot head. You know, what girl wouldn't like to drive a huge combine?
As each 30-foot wide, 30,000-pound combine rolls through a field, a spinning reel pulls the wheat into a razor-sharp sickle bar that cuts the stalks.
This is very, very sharp. It will cut anything off that comes in front of it. So this is very, very hardened material. It's a special alloy steel that is heat treated. These knives are not sharpened. They stay sharp for the duration of the life.
Once cut, an auger moves the stalks through the feeder house and into the heart of the machine, where the grain is separated from the stem. The huge force of a cylinder spinning against a concave at up to 960 RPM knocks the grain off the stem. This process is called threshing. The separated grain then falls through the grates of the concave into a cleaning system before it's moved into the holding tank. Since each tank can only hold about 300 bushels of wheat, the combine must unload on the move nearly every 30 minutes.
I go from combine to combine and take their wheat and put it in the grain cart and then bring it to the truck so the truck can bring the wheat to market.
The semis make multiple trips back and forth to the grain elevator each day. A holdup with the trucks could mean serious setbacks in the field.
Sometimes there will be no line of trucks here. You can just pull up on the scale. Sometimes it'll be like this. I could say we could be here at least a good hour. Luckily, we've got a couple other trucks back at the field.
This is no 9-to-5 job.
We can run 24/7 if we needed to. And I have run all night long, knowing that if there would be a rainstorm coming on in the morning, we would cut right till we would get rained on. We stay generally on the farmer's place. We have 3 travel trailers. We have a main house where all the meals are served out in line. My wife is a fantastic cook. She can cook anything and everything on a grill. You name it, she can do it all. And then we have a crew trailer, which all the guys are in.
This is our home away from home. It's kind of small. We got anywhere from 3 to 7 guys living in here, kind of depending on the harvest year. Back here we have 3 bunks. They kind of stack them in here, kind of tight. The top 2 each have a window. The bottom one does not. We like to refer to that as the burrow. And then this is where the other 3 guys sleep. This bed down here is actually where I sleep. Not a small guy, so the easiest way to get into bed is kind of lay on the floor and you just kind of roll in, and then when you get up in the morning, you just kind of roll out. It's pretty comfortable. I mean, by the time you get done working for 12, 14-hour days, whatever it is, you're so beat, you just want to go to sleep.
The work is very, very hard, but it's so gratifying because people entrust you with such large responsibility. The job we've just completed, we did well over 3,000 acres in just over a week's time. We almost held off $1 million worth of wheat.
But there's no time to rest. The Miseners must roll on to the next wheat farm before Mother Nature strikes again. They still have 400 fields in 3 more states to harvest before their work ends. The combine caravan has become commonplace in the Great Plains. But just 200 years ago, farmers could only rely on manpower to harvest their crop. Cutting wheat was done solely by hand, with a long, sharp cutting blade called a scythe.
Back in those days, the fields were nothing compared with the size of these fields. You'd have a heart attack before you got a field like this cut. It was a little slow, but it was good, honest, hard work.
But muscle can't compete with machinery. While a farmer and his scythe can cut maybe 2 acres of wheat per day, today's modern combines can cut the same 2 acres in 12 minutes or less. And in just 9 seconds, a combine harvests enough wheat to make 70 loaves of bread. and the world demands plenty of bread. Next to corn, wheat is the second most cultivated cereal grain in the world.
Wheat is grown virtually every